What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. And of course, it's brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Today, we're giving you our Week 8 recap of the NFL season, which was just filled with blowouts. I mean, truly, it felt like every single game, teams lost by 20, teams lost by 30. And so I want to start this episode off by just asking you guys, Matt, Theo, is there any team in the NFL right now that you truly trust and believe in as far as who you think they are?
Well, I think
Week
that
to
all
week.
these blowouts kind of solidify the good teams from the bad. You know, like the only 1-point game or the only single-digit game this entire week so far has been Jets Bengals 39-38.
Yes.
I mean, Texans 49ers was an 11-point margin, and that's one of the closest games this week. So I'm feeling like all the good teams put distance between themselves and the bad ones this week. Like, okay, I wasn't sure. I honestly wasn't sure, like Cowboys and Broncos, who was going to win out there. Usually a great offense is a safer bet than a great defense. So I was kind of feeling the Cowboys upset. Not what happened. All right. 44 to 24. I'm feeling a lot better about the Broncos after seeing that game. I'm feeling the same about the Colts, I guess. Better about the Eagles after losing to the Giants last time. They won by 18 this time around. I'm feeling a lot better about the Bills. Again, I was hemming and
that was kind of a weird game. That I just don't know.
Weird game. Maybe some weather, Matt. Was there some weather?
It was definitely like
Fluky Panthers lost.
It wasn't like a bad wind game. It's just it seemed on some of Dalton's pass the wind would kick up, whereas with Allen's it wouldn't quite as much. And like the backup quarterback was in, so I think if Bryce was in, 31-point loss probably turns to a
the wind must have been the wind when James Cook runs for 216 yards.
Bryce's EPA in this game was actually 31 because he didn't play.
You could have locked the favorite in the Stay Hot locks for every team this week and pretty much cleaned up. I guess the Dolphins weren't.
I was about to say that. I guess that was the one game where I was like, but there's also like injuries at play, and that's sort of the other main storyline. Is so many teams are dealing with injuries, and the Ravens even got a win today with Huntley out there at QB.
Dude, the Ravens are feeling great after this week.
The Steelers have lost 2 straight.
Yeah, 2 straight bad ones, and then the Bengals suck. It's unacceptable loss to lose to the Jets. So
I mean, and, the Browns are always
losing. Yes, yes. Wasting Myles Garrett's prime. Yes.
5 sacks, ridiculous.
But how are we doing? We're out over our skis here, talking about sports.
We are out
here,
over
and not talking about bird watching or canker sores or whatever it is.
Matt, how is your canker sore?
No, I don't want to hear about
it. The people are begging for more canker sore discourse. It's fine.
I don't.
Obviously, if it wasn't, I would have brought it up already.
Matt, can you show us your canker sore?
I can't anymore. I guess I'm feeling okay. I mean, there were 2 big games to watch this weekend for me. The Cincinnati Bearcats, who came away victorious, moved to 7-1, 17th in the country. Way better than I thought they were going to be, I won't lie. And then the Carolina Panthers, who lost by 31 in disastrous fashion. And you knew they were going to come back down to earth, but you were hoping like maybe they could keep it competitive. And you hope that the run defense wouldn't fall apart for them. So I guess I'm celebrating the Cincinnati win, and I'm internalizing the teachings of the Buddha with
both of those James
Carolina
Cook
Panthers
touchdowns, like Red Sea parting, was just
that was bad.
Tough. That was
for
tough
sure
to watch, dude.
But
it was tough.
Yeah, I'm having a good weekend. I went to the Halloween parade in Denver.
Nice.
Last night, and apparently this is like our biggest Halloween parade ever, which took me by surprise because this doesn't really strike me as a biggest parade ever type of year. You know, I feel like funding has been cut off for a lot of things, and I feel like maybe parade, biggest parade ever should not have been the...
There are some things where funding has not been cut for.
I guess not. I mean, maybe funding has nothing to do with the Halloween parade, but it was cool.
The things where funding hasn't been cut for are not good things.
Yeah. Anyway, it just surprised me that there was so much joyousness. I guess it was a pleasant surprise. It was good that the parade was so long. I got lots of candy.
Candy.
People were throwing the candy pretty hard off the floats, like, and sometimes kids would throw them, and there was like a barricade, and I couldn't quite see them throwing it, so the release was a little bit obscured for me. And then all of a sudden, there'd be like lollipops and like Jolly Ranchers like raining down, kind of out of nowhere. So it was a little bit dicey there for a second, but it was very festive. Lots of great costumes, lots of great floats. There was a guy on a pogo stick, like doing crazy stunts. There was like a ramp float, and then people were doing tricks off the ramp as part of it. It was impressive. Denver put on a good show, I thought. So that got me in the Halloween spirit.
You saying candy and then saying lollipop reminded me of a fan-made Stay Hot edit from a while back. Where you're going on a rant about like a bird feeder you got, and then Matt's just like candy, lollipop, Tootsie Roll, and then I say hey, and people ate that shit up.
The picture just got painted so clearly for me.
Blaiden, you didn't describe it at all. You just...
No, the comments are gonna get it, bro.
No,
I don't remember that.
You do this often where you like bring something up that like everyone has not seen, and then you don't describe it.
Okay. I'm gonna lay out the...
No. It's not.
Then I won't lay out the picture here. It didn't.
Wait, I want you to. I want. I'm talking about a bird feeder. Matt says lollipop, and then you talk. Is that edited together?
Yes. There was an edit made. You were talking about a bird feeder that you had just gotten, and you're ranting about like what you want to put in it because you're trying to keep the squirrels away too. And then Matt at one point was just like, you should put, like, he's just like candy. Like, that's what you should put in it.
But I'm doing it like in the background, and you're like completely ignoring what I'm saying. You're not taking my advice.
Like,
you're
no one paying
you're like, you're like mealworms, and I'm like lollipop or whatever. And it was just because like a bird doesn't want candy. It's a bird. And it was classic. Trust us.
It was classic. If I find the clip, I'll repost it on the Stay Hot TikTok. But that just reminded me of that. But shall we talk about some football, fellas?
We shall.
What game do you want to start with? Matt, do you want to start with Thursday night, or should we start with the game that just ended Sunday night? Packers got to
start with the game that just ended. Well, it's fresh. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it.
Theo, you take this one. What were your thoughts? Your team.
Packers win 35-25. Best Packers game since September, easily.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a lot of good things to say, honestly. Like, I feel like outside of the early drops, everything was pretty much clicking. I guess the run game wasn't super efficient, but I can deal with that. Run games are inherently a little bit inefficient. I didn't think there was anything to be too concerned about in that area. Jordan Love was getting rid of the ball pretty quickly. All right, 2.49 seconds. John Ledyard tweeted that stat out. He quoted PFF. I don't have that number in front of me, but he's great, so I'm sure that he is completely right there. And that's what it kind of felt like, is just like screen to Tuckercraft, and it works. Mm-hmm. It was just a fantastic night from him. 20 straight completions at one point, and a lot of his incompletions were just drops early, right? Like third down, blitz. He would hang in there versus the blitz. I feel like versus the blitz is when he was getting through most of his reads, like 5 people bearing down on him, pocket collapsing, and he's just kind of hanging off that back foot, getting to that route over the ball or that second read cross in the middle, something like that. It was very impressive to me how he was able to just kind of drift back, didn't take any sacks, and just stayed accurate. And this is the thing that I've been saying about Love since the preseason for years, honestly, at this point. Like that, he doesn't have bad mechanics at all. At all. I feel like people see the fadeaways and they say, like, oh, he's not accurate. He's spraying things all over the place. He's a liability at the end of the game. He's going to throw a pick, and it just has not really been true with Love. In the regular season, especially, it has not been true for Love. And this was just a great example of it. His completion percentage was 69% going into the game. I'm sure it's north of 70 now. And that's pretty damn impressive. That is pretty damn impressive. He had that throw rolling to the right, like over ball to Watson, like totally falling away, contorting himself. He had a crazy sidearm throw around TJ Watt where he kind of crouched down and threw it sidearm. Like just some ridiculous stuff from him. Ridiculous stuff from Kraft. I mean, Kraft
was crazy.
He's such a demon, dude. We've been so high on Kraft for like at least the last year and a half. Once he started really going last season, and it never lets us down to give him love, man.
No.
I think he's a top 5 tight end in the NFL right now. Truly,
I think he might be number one. I think he might be number one. He's in the conversation.
At all, for sure. I mean, Bowers is hurt right now. Kittle has been banged up, so you
throw Warren in that conversation too.
Yeah,
maybe.
For sure. I think McBride is a better route runner, and so is Bowers. But I think Kraft's blocking might give him the edge over both of those guys. The thing is that
Kraft is bigger and like sturdier than those guys. Not that those guys aren't sturdy, but you know what I'm saying. But it's not for nothing, right? Like, yeah, it affects some of his ability to like make breaks, I guess, or whatnot. But in turn, you get amazing blocking, and you get a player who's just completely ridiculous after the catch, and nobody can bring him down whatsoever, right?
After the catch, this guy, I can't stress enough how special he is after the catch. I mean, his gap between himself and then the next best tight end at Yak is a galaxy. Like, it is so much. Like last year, we talked about this during our top tight ends episodes. I think I brought up these exact stats, but last season in 2024, he forced a missed tackle on 34% of his touches. The next best tight end, at least to the top 20 guys in terms of looks, the next best tight end was at 23%, right? That's an 11% difference. That's huge. That's huge. And it goes like 23, 22, 21, 20. Like there's a bunch of guys in that range. And then there's just Kraft at 34. Last year, he was at 9.4 yak yards per receptions. 9.4. That's almost a first down every time he touches it. The next best last year was 6.9, and that's Kittle. So, like, 6.9, 9.4, that is a huge, huge difference.
He's at 9.2 this year. Only 2 guys ahead of him are like Mo Alley Cox and Tyler Conklin. So guys who don't really.
Guys.
Yeah, and that is before tonight's numbers, which...
Oh my
God. Will be a little bit
He's going to be above 10. He might be above 11 after tonight. Like, it's crazy. Every time he touches the ball with any amount of space at all, like I say, he's going to score. He's going to score. I watch a lot of games with my friend Kevin over here, a lot of Packer games, and I turn to him every time and I say, Kraft is about to take to the house. And he does it, or he gets close legitimately almost every time. Like, it is no exaggeration. I mean, comparing it to like the Steph Curry 3 ball is probably just overdoing the glaze.
The Steph Curry,
because Curry has been doing it for so many years and like revolutionized the entire sport. But it's like when Kraft is just this much better at it than the next best guy at his position, and like you can just call your shot, like, oh yeah, he's about to do something ridiculous here, and it just comes true time after time after time after time. Like that's seriously what I think of is like this specific skill, and it's a crucial skill for a receiver, is so good that it just tips the scales in so many Packers games.
I mean, that one catch he had that he didn't score, but it went for like 50 some yards, and he's just like throwing Steelers defenders off of him. Just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he injured a guy.
He might as well. He did injure a guy. He's like, he might as well score on this play. Damn, dude. Like, you made it this far.
Right. Maybe it's not a touchdown, but like it's worth, the EPA
right. And like that play
value to that play.
That play looks broken. Like for a lot of teams, that play just ends up in an incompletion, maybe an interception, but because you have a sack, but you have Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft, and Love's like, well, I've got I've got someone out there who I know is going to be able to box out, go up and get this catch, and then turn it into 50 yards. It's just ridiculous, dude.
The highest number that Gronk ever hit was 8.7 per reception, albeit it's not a perfect science to just say yak per reception is
still,
like,
I mean,
it's a good number, but obviously it can be affected. Like if you catch a touchdown in the end zone, you get no yak at all, but it's still a pretty good play because you score.
It just keeps going to show though that like no one gets to 9. No one gets to 9. Kittle, I mean, maybe Kittle got to 9 at the peak of his career. I'm sure he's not as good as
I'll say this,
Yak now.
Warren's pretty high up there right now too. I don't think he's at 9, but he's 100%. Having a great year.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, he's insane. He sealed TJ Watt on some important blocks, like the best run defender in the league, and Kraft was blocking him. He's crucial to the entire offensive operation. Him and everybody on the Packers is a pretty good blocker out there on the perimeter. I feel like Christian Watson made some real impact blocks tonight and some tough catches. Like no drops is good for him. When he's making really ridiculous catches on top of that, then it's like, holy cow, this guy's a problem. He's one of the top yards per route run receivers in the league the last 2 years. And to get him back, like that felt like a huge deal tonight. Parsons had I don't know if I'd call it a ridiculous game by his standards. He didn't always set the edge, I think, the way that he should. And the Steelers were getting out there early.
Yeah.
I was a little bit disappointed in him for a good bit of this game, but then he had a ridiculous play at the end and really made his impact felt. Yeah. He was triple teamed. They chipped him and then they slid the guard over and he just went through all of them and got the sack. So he ended up with his fingerprints on the game. Cooper had a great game. Like Wyatt was back and that seemed to help. And Nixon, look, the corner situation is going to make me throw up every single week. Nixon, too slow for Austin and too small for DK, and he muffs a punt. But not again, outside of the early drops, you can pretty much go down the list of aspects of run defense, pass defense, run game, pass game. Like it was all really, really good for the Packers in the second half, at least. Kicking, very frustrating. We've got this backup who's nailing things from 61 yards. He hadn't missed so far this season. If it's a game time decision with McManus, why say, okay, put him in there if he's not 100% and it's game time? Like there's other guys on the roster. He's you don't have to play any games with the who do we cut, who do we activate? Like with the construction of the roster, you could have just started the other guy if McManus isn't 100% and if he's going to be missing this. Anyway, that was frustrating. So I guess not a perfect game from the Packers, but man, you can't complain about double-digit wins in this league. And yeah, Jordan Love, I think he continues to be underrated. And that's I think all I got on that.
Yeah. I would say 1.8 quarters was pretty disappointing from Green Bay. And then that final drive going into halftime was nice. They got a little bit of help with a face mask penalty from TJ Watt, but they get a field goal. Or no, they missed that field goal.
Yes.
But then they came out at halftime. But like the drive was good enough that they came out at halftime and they were like still firing.
I felt extremely confident that they were going to come back and win that game. I was not really too afraid of the Steelers putting up too many more points than they did, scoring too many touchdowns. And Love, this Steelers defense is bad. All right, they can't tackle. They're old. Like
it's concerning. Like I felt pretty good that the Steelers were a pretty good team a couple of weeks ago, but the defense has just completely fallen on its face. Like it is, like even TJ Watt isn't the same caliber of player that he once was. And that to me is like really jarring. If like your best player is not up to par, I don't know what you have on this defense right now. I mean, it's so expensive and they just, I don't know, man. I really am very concerned about the Steelers right now if their defense isn't going to be any type of good.
Yeah.
And their offense it just doesn't have enough. I don't know what exactly they need outside of like a number 2 receiver would probably be nice.
And they need a quarterback who can do some things under pressure. I mean, that was my
that's exactly it. This offense has no way to dig itself out of any hole. Micah Parsons can end a drive on 1 sack. If it's 2nd and 17, it's over, right? Rodgers is better than what they had, and this is probably the best version still, in my opinion, of like the Steelers
post
Arthur Smith type stuff. Like post Ben Roethlisberger offense and whatnot. But ultimately, it's still so dependent on staying ahead of the chains because Rodgers, under pressure, just is not as mobile as he once was because he's 41 years old. And it's not like he's got a ton of crazy weapons to go target down the field anyway. So, I think quarterback is still an issue, even though I think Rodgers was, given like the options you had, not a horrible selection, although I guess Daniel Jones and Darnold have done so well this year that you feel like you could have done a little bit better. Although would Daniel Jones be having a good year in Pittsburgh? Probably.
What were your guys' thoughts on the absolute meat writing that they were doing for Aaron Rodgers in the pregame show?
Look, I don't want to say anything mean about Rodgers really because he was so nice to the Packers the entire lead up to this week. Like he was like, this was the greatest time of my life. All of these stories about how he mentored Love were pouring out. He said, I want to retire in Green Bay. I began my career there. Like this organization means so much to me. So I think Rodgers on his like post ghost visit Scrooge arc of being grateful and happy. I don't know. He deserved some flowers, right? It's a sentimental moment. I just
thought it was funny. They spent like an hour just being like, Rodgers, he gets his revenge game against, and it's just everyone just like recounting stories about like the first time they saw Rodgers throw a football and how it like changed their lives. And
valid.
And I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, Rodgers, I don't know if I'm
stuff to be very
Rodgers. I don't think I'm a football analyst if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers.
I guess that's fair.
I feel like he has just a massive influence on me in the way I view the game. And the reason I care about it this much in general is because the Packers won the Super Bowl when I was in 4th grade, right? Like Rodgers,
I love
certainly having a quarterback of that caliber certainly impacts the city, the state, the region, the world, the league, the country. Like I don't think you can dick ride a legend too much, especially in a momentous game like that. I'm going to continue to dick ride Rodgers. How about for this post game?
Did you guys see the AI thing that Fox put out of like it's him at the draft and then it transforms to him at the Packers behind Favre and then to him and then him winning a Super Bowl, then to him on the Jets and then to him on the Steelers. And people
they used AI and it looked terrible when they could just use the real clips of like him doing those things. That was bad. Mm-hmm. But the other thing from this game, I guess, was just the refereeing, which I thought was really lame. Like they missed terrible false starts. They missed an offsides. Which I don't know if I've ever seen an offsides miss that bad.
And then they got together and huddled up to decide, like, should we call this after the fact? Because we clearly missed it, which there would be no precedent for that. So, like, I don't know if, like, I think they made the right decision to not call it, like, after the fact because
they made the wrong decision because it was offsides.
Like, it was offsides, but I don't know. It's like, if we're saying you can't, like, how often do you see penalties thrown, like, after the whistle? I feel like not that often.
Not that often, but it was so egregious that, like, I don't know how you could let it slide. Everybody in the country knew that was offsides except for the referees who had the power to call the flag. Just weirdness. Kraft pushed off on that big, long catch and run that he had, clearly. Aaron Rodgers, I don't care what anybody says. He had a almost fumble where he was going to the ground in Carl Brooks's arms and then he throws it into the ground. That is intentional grounding. Like, I don't care that Warren was engaged in a block in front of where the ball hit the ground. Like, he has absolutely zero chance to catch that. He's not a route runner at this point. He's a blocker. He's the same as an offensive lineman, as far as I'm concerned. Yep. Intentional grounding. What does that mean? You throw the ball into the ground intentionally instead of taking a sack. That rule is in place for a reason. It's so when rushers aren't closing in, quarterbacks don't just spike the ball and say, well, it's incomplete. And you can't sack me. I can't lose any yardage because I can just get an incompletion anytime I want. That's exactly what happened in this case. Like, literally intentionally grounding the ball, grounding it, spiking it into the ground.
About 30% of intentional groundings are actually by rule intentional groundings. The amount of spiritual intentional groundings there are in football is insanely high.
That one was so bad. Like, you have to call that intentional ground. That is intentional grounding. Like,
I think intentional grounding should be called more.
Yes. Like, that was to me as egregious as any call all night. And Twitter seemed to disagree. Like, oh, Warren was in the area. Like, I don't want to hear any of that fucking shit.
I hate that explanation. Like, I don't care if he's in the area. If you're not actually making an attempt to get them the football, that is an intentional.
Yeah, he was blocking in the area. If he was receiving in the area, then I might be able to hear it because, yeah, like, you can make the argument like, yeah, I was trying to get it to that guy. He was running a route. Like, I threw it. What's the difference? Like, that's an incomplete pass. That's not a penalty. When he's blocking and the ball is released 6 inches above the ground and travels straight down, that's not a pass attempt to Warren, obviously. So that one not being called drove me crazy. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of calls that went for the Packers or whatever. But
so the Steelers take a brutal loss here, drop to 4-3. They've lost now 2 straight. They're letting the Ravens crawl their way back. And speaking of the Baltimore Ravens, they got a win today with backup quarterback Tyler Huntley, who we didn't even know he was going to play until like the very last second. And I saw some speculations that people thought this was cheating because, well, the Bears, they prepared all week to play Lamar Jackson, and now they have to play Tyler Huntley. How is that fair?
Well, it's not. You can't do that. You can't. That is cheating, and they will be probably fined a high draft pick or upwards of $1 million for what they did.
Serves them right, those dirty birds.
You can say that. Yes. You cannot.
I don't know. I really, like, to some extent, like, I get it, but also, and I saw someone make a video about this, and I can't remember her name, but I saw this girl. She said, "You now get to play Tyler Huntley." Like, at worst, you're over prepared, probably. And, like, to some extent, I kind of agree with that sentiment. You know,
you get to, but at the same time, like, transparency is good, especially with the, like, apparent gambling rings that are all over the place and like kind of these insider trading type situations.
That's
like,
the bigger concern in my mind is like the gambling side of things.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Like, I don't know how much the Bears really got affected either way, but I don't know. I think like Lamar is a pretty world shifting guy to game plan for, like everything before the Lions played Lamar Jackson. I'm sure, they did such a good job containing him. They signed somebody to play him right in the scout team. Like they didn't use a roster spot on a defensive end or a wide receiver or a corner or something else they could have used. Like, they used it on a simulation quarterback for Lamar Jackson, somebody who hadn't been in the league for years. So, like, yeah, it's something you spend a lot of mental energy and time thinking about is what's our Lamar Jackson plan? Like, how do we, and Tyler Huntley has got probably a lot of those same quality. Like, yeah, don't over pursue him. Don't dive at him. And if you can't tackle him high, don't try. Right. Like, all of these rules are probably still similar, but you can't, it's very clear in the rules that you can't do that. So it's a big story, and the Ravens are going to get hit hard. And I guess it worked because they won. So, and they weren't supposed to after.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's what...
Yeah. I'm sure at some level the people are thinking like, I mean, they knew that they were going to get fined. Like they knew it was illegal. Yeah. Like I don't think they really expected to get away with this. Like, oh, he was on the scout team the whole time, and we said he was practicing in full.
Right.
But they got what they needed to out of it. They got the win to save their season. I don't know if the Ravens are going to be real Super Bowl contenders this year. Like I kind of think in this deep of a hole that ship may have sailed. The defense is probably just too bad. The run game has not been great. The pass catchers, like everything about the team has been a little bit underwhelming this year, but I do believe Lamar can take them out of a hole with this to jumpstart them. If they went to 1-6, I don't know. I don't know how many teams in the history of the league have ever made it to the playoffs after starting with a 1-6 record. It would be
tough, but they come out of this and they go Miami, Minnesota, Cleveland, the Jets, the Bengals. I mean, just...
And they get Pittsburgh 2 times, so they're going to have multiple opportunities to go and beat the team that leads the division. Yeah. I mean, I think they're an incredibly fine spot, if I'm being real with you. I mean, yeah, they have a very weak schedule going forward, probably one of the weakest in the NFL. And I don't think they're going to be perfect either. I agree with that analysis, but I do think they're going to end up making the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I would say if you want to be concerned about like, well, they're not going to have the 1 seed. And so that's probably going to be a problem for them as far as, getting to the Super Bowl or even getting to the AFC Championship. Because like we say, if, you don't want to have to be the team that plays Buffalo and Kansas City. And that's what you would end up being if you're Baltimore in this situation.
Yeah, they have the worst defense in the league. They have the worst pass rush in the league, and Matabike is not coming back. So I don't think they'll be the 1 seed, and I think that will probably get them in the end. But I do think that Lamar is such a good quarterback and such a good player that 2-6, they can run the table, or 2-5 or whatever 2-5, I think they are. They can run the table.
Yeah.
Or come pretty damn close to it. So he still has perhaps an MVP push in him, even if they do that. And people can point to the season and say, look how valuable he really is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if they win 10 straight, that'd be pretty crazy.
But I didn't watch this one, so I don't have too much to say.
No, I just wanted to bring up the whole like Lamar, like supposedly being the starter until like the very last second. That whole gimmick, I guess. But let's move on to the Thursday night game. We'll go back into chronological order here. The Chargers get a big win. Justin Herbert masterclass, some are saying. 37-10. Theo, is he the best quarterback in the NFL?
I'm just going to put Mahomes there with a bullet, and then I think I'm going to put Lamar maybe next with a bullet, and then probably Josh Allen after that still. And I think Herbert's still 4th, though. I've never changed on that. And this was maybe not his best game from an efficiency standpoint. He threw a pick. He almost had a pick 6 early. Mm-hmm. But I thought from a pocket movement standpoint and like a play extension standpoint, this was one of my favorite games from him, honestly. Like he had little micro movements in the pocket with guys just breathing down his neck that just made me think like who else is poised and tall and strong enough to like live in that world as comfortably as he does. I mean, there was a play where Eric Wilson blitzed and the other linebacker popped out and went under the hot, and Herbert had to hold the ball. Eric Wilson had heavy pressure after he spun inside the running back. He's about to hit Herbert. Herbert pump fakes. Wilson dives for the ball to get the block. Then Herbert brings the ball back down and like just steps up. I think he's literally like running into Eric Wilson at this point. It's so tight. Like there is literally a guy he's pressed up against, an enemy player. And then he throws downfield without being able to step into it on Keenan Allen's back shoulder away from the diving safety, like in between a bracket. It's just like There is a tweet from this weekend of college football where I quote tweeted where it's like, here's NFL pocket movement from Ty Simpson. And it's literally just him stepping up from pressure around one edge and like there's nobody in front of him. But because he like stepped up in the pocket, people are like, there's some NFL traits flashed right there. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, to be fair, you don't see that from like a lot of college quarterbacks.
You don't.
But if you watch Drake May in college, Drake May was doing more than that.
But like that is how difficult it gets in the NFL. And that was my big takeaway from Thursday Night Football is like, man, Justin Herbert is the pinnacle of dealing with messy NFL pockets. Like he is so poised and he's also a great extender. He was running people over. He was juking guys out. Like he was throwing accurate on the move. I thought even though he threw a bad pick across his body and it got tipped, I still thought on tape he had more elite throws than anybody.
It's jarring to see that because on the other side you have Carson Wentz, who is, I mean, probably the exact opposite, right? He holds the ball under pressure. He doesn't seem like he wants to throw it. I feel like he really has to see what's there and doesn't get it out with anticipation, and that makes everything more difficult. And when he tries to get out of the pocket, like he just doesn't have like crazy facilities to do anything with it. But even though he does hold the ball too long when under pressure or like he fails to stand tall, he'll still like put the ball up sometimes, but it's these sort of looping meatballs that require Justin Jefferson to make a play and give defensive backs a huge chance. Right. I just don't think you can really consistently do much with Wentz at quarterback, unfortunately. And I think Minnesota's had an issue there as well. The other big thing that was super concerning for me, I think the Vikings going with these heavy pass rush defensive tackles and just like their rushing defense as a whole has been really disappointing recently. I mean, the Chargers are a team that's so banged up that you should be able to go and stop them from getting anything on the ground, but they were overall pretty successful. That's not really an acceptable result. And obviously, like Herbert had a great game and they ate through the air, and you know the cornerback issue is there, but being not so hot against the run is bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be concerned about with the Vikings. I mean, obviously you want them to get McCarthy back just for the sake of I guess even seeing what you have in the guy, because we've still only seen so little of him. That if we're getting into, I mean, they're currently last in this division right now. If we're getting towards the end of the season and it's like you might need to make a decision as to, you know, should we be looking in other directions at quarterback this offseason? I mean, at this point, you just have no idea. And so it's really hard to sort of assess the direction of this team even at this point, which is
it's part of the issue too, is that, you know, the idea is that the Vikings are already kind of a pretty good team. They won 14 games last year, as a matter of fact.
They did.
And I think one of the big knocks on McCarthy, say what you want about him as like a player, or the fact that he throws too far to one side, or the fact that he went to Michigan and is a bad guy. But he is somebody who came into the NFL with very few snaps, very few passes attempted, I should say. And I feel like we've seen with some guys recently, I mean, maybe this is just connecting a few dots that don't really connect, but like you need guys to really get out there and throw the ball and get the reps and get the experience. And McCarthy is still very young, but as of right now, he has gained virtually zero experience in the first year and a half that the Vikings have had him.
Yep.
And the issue is maybe not necessarily that like McCarthy is too old or like it's an age problem, but it's an amount of time since you've drafted him problem, where you don't want to be getting into the middle of year 3 and that's when McCarthy is hitting like his 300th throw or like his, I don't know, like his 1200th throw since leaving high school. Those are really low numbers, and it's tough to be a productive NFL quarterback if you just haven't seen that much action. So yeah, I'm worried about McCarthy not getting enough snaps to this point. Of course, like it's not, you know, an end all be all or whatnot, but yeah, they need to get him out there. And if they're to a point where they're like, we don't want to put him out there, then obviously you already have an issue. So
right. I mean, if you don't want to put him out there, yeah, then you might have your answer. But he's taken 55 dropbacks, right, since they've drafted him, which is just not enough.
Thea, how many attempts did he have in college? I know you did. I think it was like 900 or something, right? It's not that many.
Yeah, he had 713 attempts in college, and his most attempts in a single season was 332. And the other quarterbacks drafted, I think I did since 2020, who are in that tier of attempts in a season were Fields, Zach Wilson, Anthony Richardson, Trey Lance, and JJ McCarthy. So those are your kind of inexperienced guys who never really got leaned on during any of their college seasons. And none of them are anywhere close to success stories. They're just huge busts. Some of the biggest busts of all time. I particularly think about
Lance and Richardson there, where it's like, and I liked Lance and Richardson a decent amount, right?
Yeah.
But Lance plays 1 year, not even FBS, and then he gets banged up. He never gets that many snaps, and he looks like a quarterback who hasn't played that many snaps since high school when he's out there, right? Same thing with Anthony Richardson. 1 year, we feel like he has the talent. You feel like, this guy has a little bit more feel than maybe like the wild project label probably would make you think that he does, but at a point he just hasn't thrown the ball that much because he can't stay on the field. I don't view McCarthy as quite an Anthony Richardson level athlete or project, frankly, but I do think like I have some relatively similar concerns, albeit he played multiple years.
In the 49ers and the Colts at this point, you can say got lucky that like the 49ers found Brock Purdy and they were able to have some success with him in place of Trey Lance, because they were at a point similar to the Vikings right now, where you could say they should be trying to compete for a Super Bowl, right? Like these weapons are really, really good. You want to be able to take advantage of this group while you have them, these star players. And now with the Colts, we've seen Daniel Jones come in and have a ton of success in the first half of the season with these incredible group of weapons and a great running back. And the Vikings just don't have that. They had that last year with Darnold, but they decided to let him go and pursue McCarthy, which, like, again, they drafted McCarthy. I understand why they did that. Like, I don't think that was a poor choice, but it just isn't working out for them right now because McCarthy can't get enough snaps.
Yeah, well, and he's about to come back, and we'll see. Yeah. And he's a lot better than Wentz. It's just an option because he is young, and you do wonder like if he has more potential in him. But he's got to stay on the field. He's got to stay healthy. And then the other thing about the Vikings is, their run defense isn't so great, but neither is their pass defense. I'd say they blitz more than anybody else still, and they get a good amount of pressure, but not quite like.
They blitz out
all the pressure they were getting last year. I think they're like sixth in pressure rate according to for the numbers, fantasy numbers here. They're also sixth from the bottom in yards allowed per too high drop back, which is what they primarily major in, are these too high shells. So just not enough havoc, still a lot of havoc, but not enough for the style that they play. And just teams are a little bit more easy on the zones this year. They're missing Cam Bynum. I think they're missing some of those guys in the middle. Ivan Pace and the linebackers just haven't been quite as good this year. There's just they got hit with a little bit of defensive regression, more so than Houston, more so than Denver. They're feeling that, and at the same time, like the run game is just terrible. You can't really rely on them to pound the rock when they're under center. You kind of feel like that's not very threatening. And then the pass game hasn't been very threatening. The quarterback is either Wentz or it's JJ McCarthy. And who knows if JJ will even be able to finish the rest of the season, given what he's dealt with so far in his career. So I'm not feeling so good about the Vikings. If you were to ask me right now, like, are they making a run? Are they a team that can turn this season around and make the playoffs?
Nope.
Like,
that's not what I wouldn't predict that right now.
I would not predict that.
Agree. It's not impossible, of course, but like, I mean, the defense does not look that great, and they have issues at quarterback. So those are two bad. Those are two pretty bad things. That's basically all of the game almost.
And their division's too hard. I mean, like if the Bears are good, Which, I mean, they lost.
Which they're not.
But if the Bears are better than you.
Yeah, you're fourth place in the division, so it's tough to even justify at this point. Like, oh, should we make a move at the deadline? Should we do this? Should we do that? Should we go get whoever it is, a running back, a pass rusher from Miami, something like that? It's like, I don't know how much those would really, really help you. I'm not sure if it would be worth it. I think you just kind of got to live in this world of we're in JJ evaluation mode the rest of the year.
Like, I don't think the defense is all time bad, but it's not good enough to survive it's not good enough to survive the all time bad offense that they're putting up. And that's,
hey, here's the thing. It's not even all time bad offense. It's actually one of the better Vikings offenses in there. Wentz isn't a bottom 10 Vikings quarterback I've seen. I've seen Christian Ponder. I've seen Josh Freeman. I've seen Tavares Jackson, rest in peace. I've seen, I don't know. I've seen worse quarterbacks. I've seen Nick Mullins.
I guess that's fair. It might not be all time bad. The Browns offense is all time bad, but maybe not and the Titans offense might be bordering on all time bad.
The Titans offense is there. The Titans offense is the only one I think we can talk about as all time bad this season. I don't think anybody else is quite at that level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another case for Jonathan Taylor's MVP narrative.
Seriously, dude.
No.
Matt says no.
The most valuable player. He's not. He's not the most valuable player. And you don't even actually think that he is.
I don't know, man.
Okay. Make the argument for him being more valuable than Patrick Mahomes this year. And if you aren't willing to do that, you do not think he's the MVP.
I would say this. I would say that the Colts rushing EPA per play is so much higher than everybody else in the league right now. It's them, and then it's Carolina, like substantially far down.
They break the chart.
They break the chart. The rushing EPA for the Colts is like a really good pass game right now. Like that is how efficient they are. Is they're like knocking on the door of being a top 10 passing efficiency team when they run the ball. And to have that advantage, like everyone else is just treading water efficiency wise. Like you're lucky if you're just kind of staying neutral when you hand the ball off. You're just doing it to keep the defense honest, and you're just doing it to, suck bodies into the box and make it one-on-one on the edges. And you're just doing it so Daniel Jones doesn't have to drop back 60 times a game. You're not actually doing it because it's the analytics say that it's the most efficient thing to be doing, right? But for the Colts, like it's legitimately a huge positive to hand the ball off, even though they're getting all these stacked boxes. And Jonathan Taylor is the only running back that is there. It's not like it's some committee. It's not like it's some
I agree with all of that.
Two-headed monster, Algier and Bijan Robinson. Like it's just Taylor. And he is gonna finish the season with maybe 20 touchdowns, 25 touchdowns. Who knows? He's at 14.
He's on pace for 29 right now.
So that is my argument, is this Colts running game is the best weapon.
So you think he's more valuable than Patrick Mahomes?
I think that he might deserve the award.
It's a yes or no. Yes, he's more valuable than Patrick Mahomes right now. Mahomes will probably cook against Washington. Well, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But
And we'll be live for that game.
We will.
On the YouTube. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are. It'll be a fun time.
I think if I had to put the MVP order right now in terms of how I'd vote, I think I'd have May and Mahomes as 1 and 2, Matt. I do because of the spirit of the thing, but I think Taylor
quarterbacks.
I think Taylor is more valuable than a lot of the quarterbacks out there. Like, I don't know.
I'm just not with you on this one after the Jamar Chase thing. It's the quarterbacks are the most valuable players. And look, the better argument for this is that it shouldn't be most valuable. And I think overall we could get there, but the issue is that Taylor is not solely responsible for the rushing game. He gets all of the rushing stats, but he's not solely responsible for it. It's the offensive line being awesome as well. and the play calling being really good too.
That's true of quarterbacks too, though.
Certainly, everybody has everything affected by everybody else. But we know that quarterbacks make a bigger impact on the passing game than running backs do on the rushing game.
We do. And
there's a reason why the Chiefs offense is always a pain in the ass to deal with, even when like it's in total disaster mode, versus like Jonathan Taylor doesn't do this every year, or Saquon is having a down year after putting up 2,000 all-purpose yards last season.
For sure. And I said this, we had this same debate on the Patreon a few days ago with Ben Pfeiffer. And there's a reason why Lamar wins 70% of his starts. And there's a reason why Mahomes wins 78% of his starts, and Tom Brady wins 75, and Josh Allen wins 70, and Rodgers wins 65, or whatever all the numbers ended up being for all those great ones.
Right.
And Aaron Donald wins 53. And Jonathan Taylor wins 53, and Julio Jones wins 55, and Justin Jefferson wins 57, or whatever it is. Like, a skill position player cannot get you to a 70+% win rate over the course of multiple seasons like a quarterback can. Like, yes, they are the most valuable position, and I think Mahomes and May, honestly, like I think those two are playing at the highest level right now. But
yeah, I think that's fair. You could throw some other guys in that mix who I think are relatively close.
Jordan Love.
I also don't take this the wrong way, because I'm one of my takes is that I'm getting more and more bought in on the Colts. I don't think Daniel Jones, I think he's playing fine, and they're pretty great.
If we're in on the Lions, we got to be all in on the Colts. Right?
I agree. There was a moment today where it was Michael Pittman caught a touchdown where it wasn't a particularly great throw from Daniel Jones, but he just kind of reached through the defender with one hand and snagged it. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, the weapons are just too good. It just doesn't matter. Daniel Jones is fine enough that the weapons can carry him to a great season. I am fully convinced that the Colts Seahawks Super Bowl is a very real possibility.
Yeah.
It was kind of a joke. It's not a joke. No, that's a very real Super Bowl outcome.
I wonder what the chances of that Super Bowl are on there's DVOA playoff odds on the FTN website that track the most likely Super Bowls. Number one most likely Super Bowl at this point, according to them, Detroit versus Indianapolis, with a 9.3% chance. They have.
Yeah, I can see that.
That is the number one most likely, and number two is Detroit versus KC.
Interesting.
I think the Colts are more likely to make it than Kansas City.
I think the Colts have such an advantage on the 1 seed race right now, and they're lapping the Chiefs, honestly, in every efficiency. They're lapping every team in efficiency. So I see why, from an analytics point of view, why you would say, it's the Colts out of the AFC right now. It's Detroit in the NFC for the top three, and then it's Indianapolis, KC, Buffalo coming out of the AFC in these projections. Then it's Rams, and then Seahawks, Colts, Blaiden. They've got at a 4.2% chance that it happens, which is not nothing at all. Not nothing at all. That's top 6 on this list.
That's pretty good. I'm trying to see what the Indianapolis Colts versus Seattle Seahawks on the FanDuel Sportsbook is plus 6,500.
I don't know how that all translates, but I don't know. We're getting there.
We're getting there. It's very possible. What other game do we want to talk about? Eagles Giants.
Yeah, I watched that one. Did you guys watch that one?
I caught some of it until the Eagles started to pull away. I saw Scatterboo ended up going down.
Did you see the injury?
Yeah, it's a brutal one.
Brutal one.
I saw it.
It's like the Gordon Hayward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So
the good news for the Giants in that regard is that I feel like Tyrone Tracy came in and Devin Singletary came in and they did a good job. As much as Scatterboo is the heart and soul of that team right now, and as fun as he has been and as much life as he has injected into them, it's not quite like losing Andrew Thomas. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's probably not like losing Malik Neighbors, although they've done a pretty good job since then. It's not like losing Brian Burns if you were to lose him, I'd say. But it sucks. It sucks major ass that happened. And what's worse isn't so much the running back situation, but the run defense situation in New York right now. Let's see. I think Tank Bigsby and Saquon were up over 100 yards in this game.
And they were both averaging over 10 yards per carry also.
Cool. Yeah, I think the Eagles made the very necessary adjustment. They went under center more. Mm-hmm. And that was a big boon for the play calling. It's not just the same zone run out of shotgun over and over and over and over and over and over again. They got to some other stuff. They got duo straight downhill, and that Saquon took that for a 65-yard touchdown in the first quarter. They were able to pull the center a lot, which was Brett Toth. And even though they were missing Cam Jurgens, it seemed like Toth was doing honestly, that was kind of their best center guard combination it looked all year.
Mm-hmm. Dickerson played a much better game for sure.
For sure. He looked healthy for the first time this year. And yeah, everything was working.
He had like the big get to the second level block off a double team on duo for the first big Saquon run. Mm-hmm. And then he had another one where he reached and sealed someone off super, super well. So it was like nice to see him make those like real impact plays in the run game. And obviously it then translates to getting a whole bunch of yards for Saquon Barkley and then scoring.
Yes. This was the classic Eagles engine game where they get heavy. They were heavy in a lot of 12 and jumbo in this game without A.J. Brown, gashed everybody on the ground, gets the defense into man coverage, and then Jalen Hurts cooked the man coverage. Devontae Smith cooked the man coverage. Not a perfect game from Hurts by any stretch. I'll have to see the all 22 on some of the sacks. Like he took some bad ones, but maybe there was just genuinely nobody open and he didn't want to take the intentional grounding. I don't know, but I think they were probably just bad sacks.
I need and understand. I don't agree with it, but I'm starting to see people push the Jalen Hurts MVP agendas because he's got a lot of touchdowns and he hasn't turned the ball over a lot this year. And the Eagles have 6 wins now. So like people are starting to get that going a little bit that I'm seeing on Eagles Twitter.
All right. Well, Eagles Twitter can be safely disregarded.
Some of these got like 100,000, 120,000 views. So Emmanuel Acho tweeted out, I hope you all realize Jalen Hurts is having an MVP season, 20 touchdowns to just 1 interception and an NFC best 6 wins. #
And who wouldn't want to listen to Emmanuel Acho? Look, the Eagles are still 22nd in drop back success rate this year. The Chiefs are first. Yeah. So I don't know if he's quite past Mahomes. The Patriots are 6th. I don't know if he's quite past Drake May.
May has the highest completion percentage of all time.
So I feel like Emmanuel Acho might be rage baiting here. Maybe.
I don't know.
Could be.
Got 11,000 likes. And
it's not that many.
It's a good bit. It's not.
But the other part about this game, I thought Dart played his worst as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Even worse than his debut.
His debut is just kind of nothing. I thought like after the first drive running the ball, it was just pretty conservative. So it was like, yeah, that wasn't a great one, but he was also pretty contained with the play calling. Saints game was bad, but at least the first half there was pretty good. Mm-hmm. And in this game, he had some nice throws that were dropped. 100% he did. He threw a pretty good deep ball in this one that just for whatever reason just did not get completed. Like whether it be a drop, whether it be the push off from Slayton. That was obviously a push off, but just unfortunate. Like those throws were good, but he had some plays in this game where he was holding the ball for 9 seconds and he had 1, 2, 3 routes open downfield at different times. And his eyes are just moving wildly. Like he just had no consistent process, it felt like, in this game whatsoever, outside of some deep balls where it's like, okay, I can go deep here against a single high look or whatever. More zone from the Eagles this time. Not shocking that Fangio adjusted after his strategy last time. They were playing a lot of man earlier in the season. This was kind of a return to form a little bit. And yeah, this one, you can cut up some highlights and make Dart look nice, but this one he was not looking like an NFL quarterback from a processing standpoint in this one.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I do also, I don't know. I wonder if he is still in a stage where if there's enough good moments, it's not a total loss, and the Eagles are a good team, so you're willing to live with it. But
you are.
You're right that it's not a stellar performance from him.
I want to talk a little bit about Broncos Cowboys today, if you guys don't mind.
Dude.
This was not I don't want to say, I guess it wasn't the greatest Dak game in the world. He had a couple of interceptions, one of which he was trying to like force it down the seam with like seconds left on the clock before half. So
I mean, he didn't throw a touchdown though, and we were talking about him being the MVP. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of it was just kind of like the goal line touchdowns didn't go the passing offense's way. But I thought as a whole, like the Broncos pass rush was just killing the Cowboys. Dak is great at dealing with it, but also he's not quite as mobile as he once was. You know, he's making it work purely mentally as much as he is like physically, right? But honestly, like none of it even mattered. Even when Surtain went down and all of a sudden like Riley Moss can't cover CeeDee Lamb at all, and they get, you know, 1 million penalties off of that or whatever, because the Cowboys defense is just at such an awful state right now that it is completely, I mean, unwinnable with, right? Particularly their rushing defense let up like 6.5 yards a carry today and like 200 yards on the ground. It's not the first time this season they've done it. And to be fair, they're like super banged up, but it is crazy after, like, I think in my opinion, not their best game, nailing a lot of the offensive moves that they made. Like the Pickens deal worked perfectly.
Yep.
Williams, I thought that was a terrible signing. He's been awesome, man. On the whole, like their play calling has been really good. And like Dak is having mostly a very good season. And to do all of that and just sell the entire season away, obviously by trading Micah, or to make some moves that I felt like were a little bit shorter term, and then just like the Pickens deal, and then to give it away by not having Micah and having a rushing defense that's just as bad as last year. That's a get-right game for any rushing game that plays them. Is a disaster. I'm interested to see what they do going forward, but as it stands right now, like I just don't think one guy like Kenny Clark, even if he is like a solid player, is going to come in and change their life. And I think the expectation that was going to happen, or like the thinking on that, like we need to deal with the team for Clark. I guess we've gone all over this a million times or whatnot, but it's just tough because the Cowboys don't have a bad or spotty defense. They have a defense that like can't stop teams from doing whatever they want on the ground. And like, you can't make it happen with that in the way that, you know, you can when you have Micah and you make big splash plays, but you're really soft in the middle and whatnot. Like there's no part of that you can sort of make up for with. And then also their pass rush stinks too. So,
yeah. The bright side for Dallas is that they are still second in the NFC East right now. And they have a win over Washington. They have a win over the Giants. They could still make the playoffs.
I'm not saying they couldn't make the playoffs. I'm sure that they'll finish with like a fine record or whatever. And I think they play a stretch of games. Well, I guess they go Cardinals, Raiders, but then it's Eagles, Chiefs, Lions. They play the Chargers in there. So they got some tough games coming up. My issue is just like fundamentally, like what would they do if they got to the playoffs? With how things are right now, like they'd have a team run for 7 yards a carry on them. And they'll probably have, you know, the Eagles do just that if the rushing defense is playing like this. So they have a great offense. It's really fun to watch, and they just cannot make good on it whatsoever.
Playoffs?
Right.
I just hope we can win a game. That's the Cowboys. Yeah, they are a disaster on defense. Like, I talked about NFL pockets versus college pockets. Those were college pockets for Bo Nix. Like, there was a point late in the game where he had been pressured like 3 times the entire afternoon. It was crazy. He could go pick on, what was his name? The corner. It's like, I already forgot. Sorry,
Riley
buddy.
Moss?
No, the Cowboys corner. They kept going up the
I'm
left
sorry.
sideline on.
Shoot, I can't remember his name. He was running like 25 or something.
Yes,
which was not encouraging.
It's not Kalen Carson, is it?
No, it was somebody.
Is it? It's like his. I don't even. His last name's Bridges, or
yes.
What's
yes.
what's his first name?
Bridges. He was not doing much to be effective today.
What is
I gotta say.
We've got
Trickweezy Bridges. Trickweezy Bridges was not having a good day. Solomon Thomas had like a hilarious neutral zone infraction, or encroachment, that is, because he went fully through the line. It wasn't neutral zone. Nealand was terrible. Kenneth Murray was terrible, like just giving up soft yards on like 3rd and longs. I thought the play calling was bad in this one. Like, there was a point where it was 4th and I think 5. It was somewhere between 3 and 5 at like not past midfield, not at midfield. It was a bit before midfield. So like, obviously not a place where you'd want to give the Broncos the ball, like not quite no man's land, I'd say. But like, you saw the way that the Broncos were scoring and Bo Nix was slicing you up in the run game. You got to go for it. You got Dak, the offense. That's what's going to win you the game. And they punted. And everybody knew what the result was going to be when they punted, except for Brian Schottenheimer. I guess he didn't know it was going to happen.
He was
but
surprised.
I knew what was about to happen. They were about to allow a touchdown, and that's exactly what went on. Surtain went out, and then they like ran it 2 straight times. And it's like, at that point, they didn't know how long this opportunity was going to be. Mm-hmm. Just some conservativeness when it's like, you need 50. You need to score 50 points today. This was clear from the second drive after the pick.
You need to score 50 every day.
Really? You need to score 50. So you better stop with these conservative play calls. Yeah, it was bad, but really good stuff from Nix. Was money overall. I mean, that first pick was a disaster throw. I don't quite know what happened there, but I mean, he may have been getting open pockets, but like his arm looked great. I thought, he was hitting everything. Like, if you were waiting for the overthrow or the underthrow after the pick, which should maybe count as 3 picks against the Dallas defense, but like after that, he was dialed, I thought. So
it should count as 3 picks against the Cowboys.
Yeah, they've scored 70 points in the last 5 quarters, maybe more, maybe 80. It was 80 because it's 44 plus 33. So that's 77, I guess. 77 points in the last 5 quarters. Pretty good. I do think it's against 2 of the most terrible defensive coordinators in the league, specifically talent. Certainly they're horrible, but Eberflus and is it Shane Bowen, the Giants defensive coordinator, like those guys are on their last legs right now. So I don't want to give the Broncos like too much credit and being like, oh, well, this is very different than anything we saw last year. I don't know.
We'll see against the Texans.
I was about to say they've got a good test next week.
We'll see against the Texans, but this is definitely a better running back duo than they had last year.
Yep.
And it's maybe it can be a better Bo Nix going from this point forward. No time to start like the presence to be a better Bo Nix, and he certainly has been that the last 5 quarters. And shout out Pat Bryant. He had a beautiful little catch today, looking it through his hands. They could have scored more if Cortland Sutton couldn't make the easiest catch of his life. He dropped a touchdown. So
that was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Just bounced right off his chest.
They are very dialed. They are very dialed right now. The run game is cooking. I like how Sean Payton has called these games. I know Broncos fans might disagree with me. I think he's done a pretty stellar job, honestly. But yeah, Dallas, I don't think is going to make the playoffs either, guys. And they might be second in this division. Sure, that I can buy, but I'm not sure second in this division.
It doesn't really
gets
mean
you that
much if you're not actually like pushing the Eagles, you know?
Yeah.
That's fair. Can I ask you guys, do you think Myles Garrett deserves Defensive Player of the Year right now?
I don't know. Sure. He had 5 sacks.
He did.
I mean, I think the Browns defense has been mostly pretty good. This was obviously not a great showing for them. They got torn up by Demon Drake May, but it hasn't been a bad unit overall. I mean, they just murdered the Dolphins and they've played mostly fine. I mean, and Garrett's impact is crazy. We know that. If the requirement is you have to play on a better defense, you have to be on a better team, and that's kind of the standard. Like, we could argue about whether or not it should be like that, but like, I'm fine by people abiding and saying this isn't going to be a Garrett year. I'm cool with that, I guess. Like, okay. But I don't think Garrett is like far off from being the Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, I think he's the best defensive player in the world.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that after a 5-sack game, he's at 10 on the year already, and we're halfway through, so he's on pace for 20. And if somebody else
is still pretty good.
If someone else was on pace for 20, I'd say like maybe they won't get to 20. But with Garrett, it's like, yeah, he probably will. He probably not even he might, like he probably will.
Yeah, the Browns defense is 3rd in EPA per play, 3rd in success rate.
Yeah, so they're statistically pretty dang good. Now, this is probably before the Patriots stuff comes in, so they'll be bumped down a little bit. But they go and play the Jets. Could Garrett rack up some more sacks against Justin Fields? It's possible. That's Fields
I think
plays.
I've been trying to think about the way to push this agenda. I think I need to wait for Garrett.
You need to do that much. Just show Myles Garrett plays.
Well, I'm waiting for him to win another game by himself, because the Packers was one that I'm giving him.
Sure.
I mean, there's a clip of just Jordan run, so that's gonna.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. You don't have to do that much to like push the Myles Garrett DPOY agenda. Just like throw on the Myles Garrett film, and it kind of speaks for itself. I will say that Will Anderson has also got to be in this conversation. He just had a monster game today. They tried to run some gap scheme play action early, and like leaving him unblocked for 1 second before the guard comes over is just a bad idea, because he just diagnoses the scheme instantly and just takes the perfect angle, and he just like murdered Mac Jones. And I was like, well, there goes your gap scheme play action for the game. Like, you can't really do that anymore, which is a pretty big problem, because the 49ers are really good at that stuff. And then when you drop straight back and everybody just kind of fans out like usual, well, he cooked that too today. Like, so much speed, so much explosiveness. He had a play where he jumped the snap and got an offsides, so that was bad. But they let the play go on. He pressured Mac Jones. Mac Jones flushes and runs. Anderson flips around, chases him down. Like, he probably ended up running like 20, 25 yards, tracked him down, tackled him, and banged Jones up. Like, he kind of fell a little bit awkwardly. So he's still like, even though that was a penalty, he's still like kind of impacted the game there because of just the sheer effort after the penalty and getting a good hit in on Mac Jones and getting him sore. And yeah, he won around the edge. He bull rushed. He's a great run stuffer. Like, the Texans defense has just been unbelievable this year. They were just caving the 49ers face in for most of this game. They got a few nice drives. Kittle made a ridiculous catch before the end of the first half. Jones made some great throws, like in some tight zone windows, like some hole shots that he made were like really, really impressive. And there were some really impressive catches, but like, that's what it took to move the ball on the Texans defense. None of that easy, like play action stuff was there. No open crossers running were there. No, like real broken tackles in the flat were there. I think McCaffrey had one on like a Texas angle route type thing where he broke some, but man, they they really took it to the 49ers, who aren't at full strength, obviously, but that's mostly on defense. Like Kittle was there, McCaffrey was there, Trent Williams was there, Juwan Jennings was there making some tough catches. Like they were. You could Pearsall not being there is still a huge loss. It's crazy the amount of good players that they have, but
yeah,
I mean that was a 5-2 49ers team that it was not particularly close. Kamari Lassiter had a sick interception, just a sick contested catch, punishing an underthrow to seal the game at the end. So that's a really good defense, and Will Anderson is at the heart of it.
I'd be perfectly happy with Will Anderson winning DPOY. That dude is a freak. Nick Bonito is another guy who I think has a good shot at it this year as well. How do you guys feel about the Texans in general after this?
I thought this was a good Stroud game. I thought he did a good job standing in and making throws under pressure. I feel like, one of my criticisms of him earlier has, it's this year has been like he's trying to roll out a little bit too much. He doesn't want to maneuver the pocket like an NFL quarterback needs to. Here, there's a lot more times where he's being quick and decisive, throwing tough into zones like we know he can. And when he brings that poise or whatever you want to call it, that he's got the arm talent, he's got the mind to go and really carve defenses up. Obviously, it's a little bit easier with the banged up 49ers defense being what you're going against, but regardless, I thought it was a good performance. And when you're getting a good Stroud performance, you're having a pretty good day if you're the Texans, because the defense holds up their end of the bargain.
He was sacked 0 times today.
That's good.
Very good. I mean, the pass rush for the old 49ers and their whole defense is pretty atrocious, but it's still good to see him hang in there, not drift backwards, and then scrambling. He was really effective, and that's something he's been good at all year. Like if you look at EPA on the ground, CJ Stroud was number 1 going into this game, averaging 7.3 yards per carry. He had 9 first downs on 20 attempts this year. So he has been very effective when he's been able to take off, and that was especially true today. Those numbers don't even take into account today, and I think he scrambled for at least 3. So he's somebody who's not a true dual threat like Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields like that, but like he can kill you on the ground more in the Mahomes and kind of Baker Mayfield type range, right? Where it's like he can make some things happen scrambling, and when he's poised and ripping it confidently like he was today, they are dangerous. I think every single week except for the Seahawks game, they allowed less than 20 points. And in the Seahawks game, they got 4 turnovers. So even there, that was a pretty impressive performance by them. I think they are the best defense in the league by DVOA right now. No, they're 3rd. Seattle and Detroit is above them, but that might change after this week. So the offense just has to be passable. And I do think they can get to that level, but San Francisco is so banged up and just so hopeless trying to out-athlete any quarterback that I need to see it for more than just these games, because they won 70-11 in a 2-week stretch not very long ago against the Titans and the Ravens. And then they played a tough team, a team with a pulse, the Seahawks, and Stroud played one of his most frustrated, worst games ever, right? The offensive line played one of their worst games ever. Now here they are looking pretty damn good. They only punted once at the very end against San Francisco, but that's a Tennessee type defense. It's probably even worse than Tennessee defense. So they still got to prove something to me, but man, there's so much potential there, because this is a defense that can really shut down anybody.
And you know what? This is why this Houston-Denver game next week, we just talked about it with the Broncos. They're going to have a real test against a real defense. So are the Texans. They're going to have a real test against this Broncos defense. Both offenses are going to have to step up and prove that they are who they want to be. It sucks that the Texans are without Nico, and
that'll be tough.
But I think they're also without. Yeah, are they still without Christian Kirk?
They were today. But Noel had another great game. I got to fill out the Braxton Berrios apology form because he was good.
He was balling.
And after I questioned why he was getting any snaps at all last week. So shout out to him.
Shout out Braxton Berrios. And then that should just leave Buccaneers Saints. Bucs get a win, move to 6-2.
Also a terrible ref game. Like phantom whistles, blowing plays dead. That was the main egregious one. Like there was a fumble. There's a motorcycle running by. There's a fumble, and Winfield picked it up and returned it. And they were like, okay, it was a fumble, but it's not a touchdown. And it's like, why isn't it a touchdown? Well, a whistle blew. Did anybody hear a whistle? Did anybody stop playing? They showed a replay, and all the announcers were quiet listening for it. There was no whistle. I feel like refs just like make up. I felt this way a couple times this season where it's like there's some sort of batted release where it's like maybe it's a fumble, maybe it's an interception. There's no whistle because the refs don't know. And then someone picks it up and starts returning it. And then it's like they just call it back. It's like, well, there was no whistle. I don't know. It was one of those situations. It was Tyler Shuck's debut. That was kind of the big story from this game where they were turning the ball over a lot. That fumble, Rattler fumbled once. Rattler threw a pick six. Did he have another pick that I'm forgetting about? I think he may have before he got bent. No, there was just a bunch of penalties, I think, and a really ugly drive before he got pulled for Shuck. And I feel like Shuck has kind of a high bar because I don't think Rattler was playing like so horribly bad over the course of the season.
No.
Like it was bad, sure, but was it to the level of Kirk Cousins maybe before he got pulled last year? I don't think so. So, I thought Rattler gave him a decent shot to win. He'd been making some big time throws this season, and they put Shuck in there, and Shuck did stymie the turnovers. Well, I guess that's not true because he had a pick.
The interception wasn't really his fault.
It wasn't well played. He didn't help the wide receiver out with the placement, but Olave still should have definitely caught it. It wasn't quite as bad as some of those Rattler turnovers. But
I only caught the tail end of this when he was in, and I just didn't think he looked super comfortable, but that was just off of a handful of plays. So
yeah, the thing is the offense was just so bad generally.
It's just
okay, he goes 3 and out, and then they punt, and then he gets the ball back. They go 5 and out, and then they punt. And so we're not really going off a very large sample size. I thought overall he wasn't like horrendously inaccurate. I thought he looked a little bit explosive sliding around through pressure on some of the plays. That's something that always surprises you because he's so kind of tall and lanky. But, he can really kind of take off quickly when he wants to. So that stood out. But overall, like getting through multiple reads, like deep ball accuracy, I didn't see much of that. He had an opportunity to really make a statement on a deep ball to Shaheed, and he missed it.
He missed it, yeah.
So it wasn't any kind of like great debut, but he didn't go out there and embarrass himself or anything. Sure. He didn't have
My question is how many reps does he have in practice with the first team offense? My guess is
zero.
Probably zero
since preseason. Yeah, he probably will this week though.
So that's what I would look for, is to see improvement as he just gets more time with the actual offense that's on the field.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they handle this because, again, Rattler really showed some stuff and showed some worthy traits that could be developed, I thought. Like hole shots, through layered things, vision. The QB run game was pretty good with him. Just these last 2 weeks, he's been turning the ball over left and right. And you've had disaster plays at this kind of Will Levis level. So that's not good. But it wasn't 7 weeks of that. It was just these 2. So if Shuck starts to play bad, will you go back to Rattler? Will you trade Rattler? Like, what could you give him to like a I don't know. I guess trading Rattler this year nothing immediately comes to mind, but he seems, it seems kind of, they're in a weird spot. They'll probably have a very high draft pick. They've got two
they could
kind of
easily have the first overall pick.
Yeah, they've got two guys kind of worth developing. I don't know.
I mean, I'm seeing what I have in Shuck on some level, especially if I'm gonna have like potentially the first overall in a year where there should be at least a couple of quarterbacks to really consider. So I don't blame him, but yeah, I think Rattler's like not that bad. I don't know if he was like necessarily bench worthy outside of the fact that you spent the 40th pick on a guy.
Yeah.
I will say the other conversation point that sort of started with Shuck getting in is we've seen Dylan Gabriel, we've seen Jackson Dart, we've seen Tyler Shuck. Is it time we see Shedeur Sanders?
I think so. Yes. I think so.
I think so. I think the answer
Why not?
is yes. Dylan Gabriel.
Why the hell not?
I mean, Gabriel, I think, is just way too limited and everything's super short. Like that's how it is with him. And I don't know, he's played a lot of football. I have a hard time buying that's going to change, especially considering how much of, I think, like his negative attributes as a player are tied to just physical limitations that aren't necessarily his fault, right? Now, if Sanders comes in, I have my doubts on how the sack stuff is going to go, and I think it very well could be a disaster, as much as I think it could work out. But you're starting to get to the point in the season, you're 2-6, buddy. Like, if you're Stefanski, so you might as well see the guy.
You might as well see what you have.
But I'm also not like, how could they possibly not?
No, this is the other side of it, where it's like the offense is largely similar in terms of output from Joe Flacco to Dylan Gabriel, and this is because the Browns' offensive line is a train wreck, and the Browns' receivers are probably the worst in football right now. And that's not going to change with Shedeur Sanders in at quarterback. You're still going to have drop problems. You're still going to have pressure off the edge.
I have a hard time imagining it goes good for an extended period of time, frankly.
Right.
But who knows? Like, maybe they get a stretch of easy defenses.
That's the thing, is I think once you get to a point where if the Browns get a stretch, honestly, they could do it this week. Jets, Ravens, Raiders. Why not, dude? Why not?
Gabriel has the lowest percentage of deep passes in the league right now. 5.6% of his passes go over 20 air yards. That's 1.3% lower than the next lowest, which is Goff, followed by Mac Jones, followed by Bryce, followed by Justin Fields. So Gabriel he's bad and he's boring as fuck. He's not stretching the field at all. Like, I honestly feel like if Shedeur goes in, he'll be better. Like, I think he's got a bigger arm.
And if he's not, he'll be more fun.
I think he's more capable of performing in the pocket than Gabriel. He's a better story generally. Like, I think everything about the Browns will get 10 times more exciting when Shedeur is in there. Like, I
agree. And
maybe he'll take worse sacks, but I think he'll make better throws and probably be able to put up more points and more explosive plays.
He'll give his guys more chances, and sometimes they'll work, sometimes they won't, but it's better than what's happening right now. So and we weren't the biggest Shedeur guys by any stretch, but I think we all agreed he was probably QB2 in this class.
Most of us agreed he was better than Gabriel.
I agreed that he was better than Gabriel. I just understood why Stefanski liked Gabriel, or Stefanski and Barry liked Gabriel more, because it's like you probably don't have to teach him like how to completely you don't have to teach him not to double back in the pocket all the time.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know. It just felt like Shedeur never felt like a quarterback Stefanski would have liked. But at this point, I don't think you have anything to lose by putting him in. It's not like Gabriel's playing well. So,
no.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we send the people on their merry way?
What is your favorite and least favorite Halloween candy?
$100,000 favorite, least favorite, anything gummy, probably like the little Krabby Patty gummies that you get.
Interesting. Favorite, probably like a Reese's cup.
It's a good choice.
Least favorite. I really appreciate that, Matt. I feel like a lot of times I give food takes on here and it's bad.
Reese's cup is top 5, no question. It might be 2, honestly.
Hershey's bars are also pretty strong.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Although I've made a top 5 candies, I didn't put Reese's cups on there, but I had some I think
you had Cowtails on there. That's for sure.
You don't get Cowtails, and you don't get Atomic Fireballs or stuff like that.
I'm trying to think about
Atomic Fireball is worse in your top
it's so
5.
Good. You don't know anything.
Then
okay,
Cowtails.
you just exposed your stupid.
No, I didn't. Nuh-uh.
I would probably put this is gonna be. People are gonna say this is an L take. I don't like Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah, that is an L take.
Everyone
thinks they're so smart for not liking Tootsie Rolls.
They just taste. It's just bad chocolate to me.
It's good chocolate.
It's bad chocolate.
I feel like a fun-sized Twix is the best thing you can get, and then a Dum Dum is the worst.
That's one of the fakest woke opinions I've ever heard. What about a big Twix?
Well, that's not really like a Halloween candy. Is like a big Twix,
I thought you were implying somehow the ratio in the fun size.
No,
Twix,
no,
I was like, come on.
Mini versions of any classic candy are kind of the best, and I think Twix is the best of that genre.
I prefer
anything chocolate is a win outside of the real freaky stuff. You know?
What? Like Cowtails, bro? What?
No, Cowtails isn't chocolate. You don't know anything. I'm talking no offense, but an Almond Joy. Just
I'm allergic to almonds, so yeah, those would be bottom 5.
Or Baby Ruth or something like that. Honestly, any of those. No,
what is a Baby Ruth?
Come on, you know that.
What do you mean?
That's an incredibly standard one. Any of the chocolate where it's they're putting full peanuts in there or some shit is this is too much, man. But 3 Musketeers. I guess even a Snickers, regular Hershey's, any of that. A Crunch bars are so fire. It's ridiculous.
Matt, what is the difference from a Baby Ruth to a Butterfinger? Because I'm seeing them side by side here.
I honestly don't know, man.
Can we do a speed round of different candies and then you guys just say yay or nay?
Sure.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Twizzler.
Nay.
Nay.
Okay.
I eat them, but
my mom loves them. I can't.
We're supposed to be speed round. My fault.
They're a yay for me. Okay, Smartie.
Yay.
It
just works.
I'll go yay.
I'll go yay as well. Candy corn.
Nay.
Yay.
Hard nay.
Easy yay.
Horrible.
Easy yay. Delicious. I agree. Plain caramel, just a square of caramel.
Yay.
Yay if it's homemade.
It's not. It's not. It's in a wrapping plastic.
Do you ask? Is this homemade by any chance?
If this is a homemade Crunch bar, I'll say yes. This is homemade.
Reluctant yay. I'll eat it, but I won't be happy about it.
I don't have a very discerning palate with candy, so I think everything is just going to be a yay for me. All right, that's the end of my speed run.
Okay. I don't have any ones that I want to speed run. I think.
What'd you say your least favorite was, Theo? Real quick again.
I said a Dum Dum,
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah,
I'd much rather have a Dum Dum than.
That's definitely
the big Tootsie Pops. The little Dum Dums are terrible. The big Tootsie Pops, those are some of the best candy we have, and that really should have been on my top 5. And it was kind of a blunder.
Here's the thing, right? I imagine I'm eating a cherry lollipop, and then all of a sudden I get to the center, and it's just this disgusting chocolate that pokes through. Because
you don't know anything.
Tootsie Roll chocolate is horrible, man.
Nope. It's good.
All right.
You don't like candy corn.
Candy corn's horrible. What are we talking about?
Candy corn is great, and most people, no. The majority of people think candy corn is good, but for whatever reason, the candy corn dislikers are so vocal. And it's how is it possible? And really the answer to that probably is that candy corn is beloved by sensible people, and it enrages the candy corn haters in some way, whereas
candy corn is the Halloween version of Peeps.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope. They're entirely different. In almost every way.
In the sense that they are literally different food items? Yes.
Peeps are truly horrible. I'll give you that.
Yeah, Peeps would be kind of a nay for me.
Peeps are like, Peeps
would
are
be good if they were a quarter of the size. Like there's just too much
you have to like gnaw on this marshmallow. I'm good.
The problem with Peeps are their way. It's like, let's take a marshmallow and make it like as dense as humanly possible.
Yeah, if it was a little bite of it, it would probably be like a nerd or something, which I could stomach. But like they're huge. Like I wouldn't want a nerd to be way like.
I like the pink nerds.
Yeah.
But
all right. Okay. I think I'll let Blaiden close it out because you're generally our close outer.
I'll close out this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll do an official Halloween episode on our next episode, and maybe we'll wear costumes or something. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But until then, thank you all so much for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful week and a great Monday. And until next time, as always, from your favorite three fellows here at Stay Hot, we will catch you on the flippity flop.